Hello there everyone, it's Alex here with Lucksack Games, joined today by my girlfriend Greyci.
Hi.
I was telling her about our Manaless Dredge deck and how it has no lands, and she's very confused on how it can play Magic. So I thought rather than trying to explain it, let's just see if we can show her how we can register a 60 card deck, well 75 really, with absolutely no lands and still manage to kill our opponent. So, the first thing you'll note, Greyci, is that we always want to be on the draw. So even if we win the die roll, we want to go second. That's the first thing we'll find about this deck that's a little bit weird. So, unfortunately we won the die roll. We generally want to lose it. Also, we'll always keep 7 cards. Unfortunately, this hand doesn't have what's known as a Dredger, which is a card that allows you to dredge rather than drawing. Dredging is putting a number of cards from the top of your library into the graveyard. So all we do for our first turn is draw a card, and then yield to the end step. So we don't take a game action at all our first turn. We always just draw and discard. Our first discard is this Phantasmagorian. It has an activated ability that allows us to discard 3 cards to add it back to our hand. So let's see what the opponent's going to play this turn. Leading off on Underground Seed, it looks like they're Grixis control of some sort. And there's a Dreadhorde Arcanist. So what we can do, Greyci, is you can pay the cost for an ability more than once if you hold priority. So we're going to hold priority and use our Phantasmagorian, discarding our 2 Nether Shadows and our Thug. And then still, before this resolves, but after we've discarded the cards, we're going to go ahead and discard 3 more to get it back. So it'll only come back once, but it'll discard all the cards. So we're currently waiting for these effects to resolve. Perfect. We only get 1 Phantasmagorian back, because we only had 1. But then we move to our next turn. Our Nether Shadow says if we have at least 3 creatures above it, we can bring it back for free. Then we're going to dredge 4 cards. Put 4 cards into our graveyard. Any order is fine. We are going to go ahead and get in there for combat, because if they block, they turn our 1/1 into a 2/2. And then we're going to pass the turn. Kind of neat, huh? See? So far what we've accomplished is we've put a 1/1 on the battlefield. Opponent has cast a True Name Nemesis, and he has protection from me. What that means is none of my stuff can target that, none of my creatures can deal damage to that. So we're going to bring this back, and we're going to yield to this Prized Amalgam. Prized Amalgam says whenever a creature comes back from the graveyard, he comes back at the end of the turn. So we're going to dredge 6. Oof. Alright. Not a super good dredge there. We're going to go ahead and put those in the grave. We're going to go ahead and trigger a Narcomoeba. And let's see. We have Cabal Therapy to remove a Force of Will. And then we can go for the kill, so let's go for it. Do we cast Hogaak first? I feel like we try and cast our Hogaak. So Hogaak says Convoke, so we can tap our creatures to pay for it. And then we can exile cards from the graveyard to pay for the rest of his costs. So we cast this 8/8 with Trample, without paying a single mana. Oh, our opponent did have the Force of Will, which is great. So I actually think we just name Daze now with this Cabal Therapy. So let's Cabal Therapy them. Oh, they've conceded. Okay, so what we do from this point is we Cabal Therapy them, removing any interaction they may still have. And then what we do is we dread return Balustrade Spy. Balustrade Spy says return mill cards from the top of target player's library until you hit a land, and then put all the revealed cards into the graveyard. So how that works, Greyci, is if you don't have any lands in your deck, you will mill your entire deck. What this will do is bring back all of our Narcomoebas, and we have this creature in here called Lotleth Giant. When we reanimate it, it deals 1 damage to our opponent for every creature in our graveyard. So as you can see, we have 44 creatures in our deck, so it'll likely do 30 or more damage to our opponent. Alright, so our opponent is one of our better matchups. The hate card we're expecting from them is Surgical Extraction. But really, our deck's already pretty set up against that card. So they should put us on the play and choose to be on the draw. They correctly put us on the play. Hand's a little awkward. At least it has a Dredger. We always keep. Alright, so opponent's deciding whether or not they're mulliganing. We never have to make mulligan decisions. We just get to pass our turn. Cool thing about Street Wraith is even though our opponent correctly put us on the play, this will kind of make up the turn we're behind. Because this allows you to pay 2 life rather than paying any mana to draw a card. So it's also very good against Surgical Extraction. So is Phantasmagorian. So we're going to start by discarding this Phantasmagorian. We go to 8. You're only allowed 7 cards in hand. Thought Scour targeting us. Alright, discarding Gurmag Angler and True Name. That's fine. And we're going to go ahead and discard this Phantasmagorian. So we're going to leave this up because this is currently our only effect. Alright, Thought Scours themselves. True Name Nemesis Lightning Bolt. Plays a Flooded Strand, cracks it. So we're not going to get too aggressive with this Street Wraith because we're pretty sure that they have Surgical Extraction in hand. So there's no reason to do it second main since we are not going to hold control. We're going to discard an Ichorid. A Nether Shadow, Ichorid, Golgari Thug. Put the ability on the stack again. Hogaak, Cabal Therapy. Okay, we're going to get our Phantasmagorian back. Let's find out if opponent's going to fire off a Surgical now. They are not. So let's go ahead and go to our turn. Always put these on the stack with Ichorid going on the stack first so that you get your Shadow back. Yep. And then we're going to go ahead and exile one of these Hogaaks. Dredge 4. Perfect. We hit a Creeping Chill, so we're going to be able to deal 3 damage to them and gain 3 life without paying any mana. I think we're just going to... Let's see, we do have a bridge from below. Let's Cabal Therapy them. Yes, because we don't want them to block and remove our bridge from below. So let's start with Cabal Therapy. See if they Surgical us or Force us in response. Alright. So the first hand I'm going to name is Surgical Extraction. See if they have it. They do not. They have a Daze. Well, that's fine. Since they don't have Surgical. I think we're fine with just getting this. They have a Vapor Snag. I think we're just fine with doing this because it puts them a turn. Oh no, because then we have to exile a whole grave. Yeah, it's a little bit of a rough spot here. Alright. I think I'm fine with getting bridge exiled if they're trading off their Delver now. That's fine. So, whenever creature... Alright, so make sure you make your zombie before the bridge gets exiled. Then pass turn. We are going to have to discard this Street Wraith in order to enable more dredging, but that's okay. Are we going to Thought Seize us? That'd be interesting. We just discard our hand in response. But, oh, Gurmag Angler. Okay, that's fine. They're going to play a 5/5 fish. This one. Zombie fish. She actually is a fish. It's a zombie fish. Is very, very scary. Alright, so Phantasmagorian, discard these 3. Draw. Put this on the stack first. Yes, I'd like to bring back my 1/1. I'd like to exile the Street Wraith and bring back my 3/1. Dredge 4. Bridge from below, Dread Return, Golgari Grave-Troll. Alright, not super stellar, but not miserable. Alright, so let's go to combat. We're going to go ahead and get in there with these. That's only getting in there for 2, but that's fine. Opponent blocks. Takes 2. Post combat, we're gonna cast a Hogaak. Black, black, black. Nether Shadow. Oh, do not use the Hogaak that you're currently trying to cast. And Nether Shadow. I have to get rid of Ichorid here, but I think that's fine. They're going to daze it, but we want the daze out of their hand, so that's fine. Nope. Okay, I like this position because now they don't have an Arcanist coming down. I also like them bolting one of our dudes there. That seems like a pretty good line for them. Arcanist is likely coming down this turn. Yep. We're not going to take 5. Alright, apparently leaving it back on defense. Let's dredge 6 and see what we get. Balustrade Spy. This is going to be in any order because we're going to attempt to win the game this turn. Yep. Alright, we win the game. So what we do again is we Cabal Therapy them, taking away their interaction. Dread Return Balustrade Spy, mill our deck, and Lotleth Giant them for the game. So that was a pretty good first match.
So that's freaking.
So that's how you win the game without ever playing a land. Yep. You just use the effects of your cards rather than any mana. The trick is you have to get started by just discarding your hand. You have to discard from your hand first in order to get your whole deck going.
I wouldn't be.
It is a little counterintuitive. It's not like most decks where you are playing lands every turn to cast your spells. This one you're using abilities to play your spells. It's unfortunate that our opponent, which I appreciate our opponent trying to be timely and conceding, but it's a little unfortunate I wasn't able to show you the full kill. But I'm sure at least one opponent this league will force us to do the whole kill. Correct. So it's that format, you know. Alright, so let's lose the die roll. We want to lose the die roll. See what we got here. Yay, we lost the die roll. Alright, so woohoo. That immediately puts us on the draw unless we're playing the mirror match. And that means we'll be able to do that whole draw discard thing our first turn rather than having to... We still put them on the play if we win, but then they get to know what we're playing before and make their decisions based on that. This hand is absolutely great, so we're going to keep it. The only thing that could be better is if we drew into a Phantasmagorian to discard multiple cards. But if, assuming we don't draw a Phantasmagorian, we're going to discard this guy because he has Dredge 6.
Okay.
Which means we put 6 cards from our deck into our graveyard. So it's kind of like, but not exactly, kind of like drawing 6. Alright, Verdant Catacombs Pass means it's either Reanimator, which would be miserable for us, or Black-Green Depths, which is pretty reasonable if they don't Thoughtseize us on one, which they didn't. So let's find out what it is. It looks like it's Reanimator. Yep. Unfortunately for us, it does appear that it is Ooh, Barrenmoor. What the? Is it? Alright, I'm lost. See, I expected a Entomb there. Barrenmoor is much different. So if opponent has mainboard Ashiok, which is potential with Badlands, cycle Barrenmoor. I'm going to put them on Jund, I guess. Hemming us now? Bob, okay. So now we get to quote-unquote draw 6. Our 6 does have a Dredger in it, so that's excellent. So we're going to put them in our graveyard in any order, and then we just pass our turn again. So we already do have a Dredger in the graveyard, but we don't have a thing that comes back automatically, so let's go ahead and put a thing that comes back automatically into our graveyard. So they effectively get to draw 2 cards here, because Bob will reveal one and hit them for 3 damage with a Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer, that's pretty good. Plague Engineer says they can name a card, and then all things of that type get -1/-1. The other interesting thing about facing against Jund is... Okay, it's not Jund. There's 4-color non-blue pile. Interesting. Opponent says they want to play every color in Magic, but don't want to play islands. Maybe they just want to avoid that bad Merfolk matchup. Let's find out what they cast here. Ideally, we want to be hymned. There's not a card in our graveyard we wouldn't, or not a card in our hand we wouldn't prefer in our graveyard. Knight of the Reliquary. Well, that signifies we're probably getting Bojuka Bogged. So let's see here. Bojuka Bog exiles your whole graveyard. So we're going to exile the Golgari Thug here. Always yield to this. We're going to Dredge 5. And in that 5, we want to see a Balustrade Spy and 2 Narcomoebas, and then we win the game on the spot. 1 Narcomoeba and a double Phantasmagorian isn't miserable. Alright, so Narcomoeba is going to come back. We're already yielding to those. Alright, so Phantasmagorian, discard Cabal Therapy, Dread Return, Grave-Troll. Still holding priority. Discard these 3. Let it resolve. The other one, use its ability to discard my whole hand. Let it resolve. Okay. So, we are definitely getting bogged. So let's go ahead and see if we can take out... Let's see, I don't even know what we... We know they have Plague Engineer. Let's go with that. So, Plague Engineer. Take out that card. They have Wrenn and 6, Sylvan Library, and Liliana of the Veil. Interesting. Okay. So, taking Plague Engineer, they're still really good, though. So, then we're going to cast our Hogaak. So, we're going to pay black, exile this. Exile this. Exile additional Hogaak. Phantasmagorian. Shambling Shell. And there we go. Alright, so here's our 8/8. And at the end of the turn... So if I Dread Return now, I can bring back... Nah, I think I'm fine with losing 2 Dread Returns. Alright, so all of these are fine. We'll get our 2 guys back and we'll get another zombie. So opponent's gonna bog us here. Just, it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it. We put as much power, I believe, as we can into play. Still a lot. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Technically their life total. And if they tap the knight to bog us, we can attack for their life total. Although, mind you, they will probably Lily us first, which makes us sacrifice it. You're familiar with Lily. She plays Boggles in Modern, so she's kind of familiar with Liliana. Wrenn and 6 is good. Are they going to pick up Baron more? Verdant Catacombs. Okay. They drew Mox Diamond. Okay. Mox Diamond allows them to discard a land to basically be a permanent 5-color land. Another Bob. Okay. So we're going to leave the knight back to block. Which is dangerous if... Oh, alright. There. Gonna let these abilities go on the stack, so we're going to exile these 2 Stinkweed Imps. Bring back our Ichorids. Let's go ahead and dredge Grave-Troll. Any order on those. See if they let us bring back Narcomoeba. Yes. Interesting. So I have 2 Bridge from Belows now. Let's Dread Return. Targeting Golgari Grave-Troll. Sack. 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 Any order's fine. Make a million zombies? Okay. Do they not have Bog? The only conclusion I draw from this is they do not have Bazooka Bog. And I don't know if they can beat our current board anymore. Alright, well, let's Dread Return targeting Phantasmagorian. Actually, yeah. Sack. 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 Any order. Make a million zombies. Alright, we're gonna go and yield to these now. Alright, so creatures enter our battlefield from our graveyards. So these amalgams will come back into turn. Attack with all creatures at him. We don't care about Ren and 6 in the slightest. Alright, this is gonna be our turn. Let's see if it's enough. Okay. Only taking 8. Is this where we get bogged? Maze of Ith. Okay, sure. That's pretty spicy. Definitely glad we went as wide as we did if they have Maze of Ith. Maze of Ith says that they one of my creatures that's attacking effectively doesn't do anything. Untap target creature, prevent all damage that it would do. So we have way more than lethal on the board though, even with that Maze of Ith. That's why we went really, really wide with the zombies. We made lots and lots of zombies. Bridge from Belows do that. Whenever a creature dies, it makes a zombie on our side. But it only works in the graveyard. It's an enchantment that costs 3 that basically does nothing. Alright, so we're going to go to sideboard here. I'm going to bring in these Force of Vigors because I feel like they're definitely a Leyline deck. I'm going to take out these Creeping Chills. And I feel like that's it, especially because Chancellor doesn't do anything because they just discard to it, so that's our only change. Sideboarding tends to be very, very, very simple with this deck. It's possible we need these Sickening Shoals. I'm going to consider them for a second. Let's see. I'm going to go and cut 2 Street Wraiths for 2 Sickening Shoals. So what Sickening Shoal does is it hedges against cards like Galactique, which is also in your modern deck, which has non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater can't be cast. That stops us from casting Dread Return. So also very curious, I would assume they don't have access to Bazooka Bog, which says exile a player's graveyard, and it's a land. So their Knight of the Reliquary searches for lands. I figured that they were going to remove my graveyard. They were unable to remove my graveyard, I assume, because they didn't do it at all. If it was just that they thought Maze of Ith was better than Bog, I feel that they definitely misplayed, because Maze of Ith only stopped 8 damage, and Bog would have prevented me from making 12 zombies. They would have, and then they could have just gone and got a Maze of Ith the very next turn. So that, yeah.
That makes sense.
Definitely. So right now we're waiting on our opponent to sideboard. If we don't see ley lines game 2, there's a chance that we board these Force of Vigors back out for game 3. But I'm pretty sure that they have Force of Vigor, or that they have ley line. Ley line says whenever a card would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Since the only way we're able to do anything is through the graveyard, we cannot beat that card. So hopefully they go first. If so, then they've misplayed. They should be putting us on the play. They correctly put us on the play. We're going to keep our hand. Very nice, it has an answer to Leyline of the Void. So if they do have it, we will be able to remove it. Ideally, we won't get Thought Seized. If we do get Thought Seized, we will have to Force of Vigor in response. If we don't get Thought Seized, we do get to take a draw step at a different dredger besides Shambling Shell, or another green card for Force of Vigor. Because if we draw a Hogaak, we can still pitch the Shambling Shell. Alright, so opponent did not have pregame Leyline, so that we do not need this Force of Vigor anymore. Very likely that they have Surgical Extraction instead then. I guess it could be Cage. So let's find out what the opponent's playing. Mox Diamond's fine. Discard Swamp, Grove, and pass. Does that smell like Surgical Extraction to anyone else? Sure smells like Surgical Extraction in here to me. Alright, so we only have one Dredger, which is unfortunate, but we are going to discard it. Discarding anything else is probably too slow. So here's our Dredge 2. So it's much less than our Dredge 6, obviously, but I think it's fine. Bog removes our one Dredger, so that's fine. Draw another Dredger would be real nice here. We did not. So now we have to establish what's the best card to discard now. That we don't have a Dredger, and I'm thinking... I think it's Prized Amalgam. Unfortunate. We really wanted to hit a Dredger there. That feels like the draw step that we needed to hit it in. We can't cast any spells in response, so opponent's going to play a Knight. That's fine. Dredger. Street Wraith. That is another draw at a Dredger, and a black card for this Ichorid. Alright, sweet. We did hit the Dredger, so now we get to discard that. Let's find out if the opponent has multiple Bojuka Bogs. Scavenging Ooze. That's a pretty good one. That card gets to exile cards from our graveyard by eating them. Yes. And gets bigger whenever it does.
Wow.
Yes. That card's not ideal for us. Let's see what we draw here. Oof. We did not want to draw a Lotleth Giant there. We wanted to draw Phantasmagorian. I don't think we can beat this Ooze anymore. Discard this, and they're going to eat both our creatures. So, this is it costs green, so green, green. Or I lied, and they're going to cast something else. They do have Ley Lines of the Void. We are so smart bringing in Force of Vigor. So smart bringing in Force of Vigor. Alright, well. We actually might have a way to win this game because I think the opponent misplayed. So, I'm going to exile this. Bring back our 3/3 at the end of turn. So we get 3/1 and a 3/3 so far. Draw a green card. We did not draw a green card. Okay. So we're currently just drawing a green card to remove this ley line. So that's not too terrible, actually. We will lose our 3/1 and only get a 3/3, but that's fine. Discard this Narcomoeba since we're discarding it into exile. Alright, so Leyline of the Void is one of the cards that we have a very hard time beating. Like I said, if a card would be put in a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead is very hard for us to beat. So the way we win, I guess, is drawing a green card this turn, able to block the ooze. That's still... I think that's lethal. I don't think we can win anymore, and we don't want to show him Force of Vigor if we can avoid. Take our draw step. Hogaak. Alright, let's concede the game. And I'm happy with how we sideboarded, especially knowing that they have oozes and ley lines. I feel like we made every right call there. Because this removes oozes, and the other thing removes ley line. So... Yep. I know, right? It's almost like the deck knows what its opponent's going to bring in to hate it out and tries to bring in answers to it before the hate actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So opponent did cast a leyline that game, so we know they have access to at least a couple. We'd like to draw first. Hand is really bad, but we cannot mulligan. We just need to draw a dredger. And hope our opponent doesn't have a leyline. This game 3 is looking pretty rough for us. We're going to keep. Opponent has pregame leyline. That's what this pause is. Oh no, he did take a mulligan. Still probably has pregame leyline, but went 6 cards. So, ironically, if opponent leads on a Thoughtseize, there's not a card in their hand they can take that won't do something in the graveyard. Because if they take any of these cards, they do something in the grave. But it does still set us back a whole turn as far as doing the whole draw and discard thing. So, waiting on the opponent. Opponent has a 6. Hopefully they're considering keeping a 6 without leyline and hoping Scavenging Ooze is fast enough. Which, mind you, with this current hand, it probably is. So let's see what the opponent has. They may also take a mulligan to 5. Like they're considering it. Oh, well, there's the Leyline of the Void. That is not what we wanted to see. Hopefully they don't have a land to go with it. That is definitely a land. Alright, Force of Vigor, green card. These are the things we need to see. Dread Return is pretty bad here. So we do get to discard... we're going to start with the Phantasmagorian. Mox Diamond. Looks like a Scavenging Ooze. In which case we need to draw Sickening Shoal as well. A little bit slow over priority. That is a 1 power Goyf. That is a green card, so that is half of our recipe for success. The other half being Force of Vigor. There's 4 Force of Vigors currently in our deck. And if we hit it, we get to destroy one of their lands and their leyline. Yes. So we would really like to draw Force of Vigor this turn. Green. Yep. Ooh, Sylvan Library. So, Force of Vigor. Another Phantasmagorian. Literally the least likely card in our deck to draw besides Lotleth Giant, because there's only 1 in the deck. Because remember, we started with 3 in our opening hand and we've already discarded 1. So instead of drawing the 4 of, we drew the 1 of. Little unlucky, but still. We're still playing to our outs. This Goyf is still only 1 power. They cannot even wasteland themselves to increase its power because the 1 power comes from lands. Be shocked if the opponent did not have more interaction here after resolving a Sylvan Library. Alright. Enabling another Mox Diamond. This one's the powerful hate card. Force of Vigor. Still good. Still good right now. That's the one, guys. Alright, so this is at the beginning of your draw step. So, what we do get to do is we get to blow their stuff up. And it's going to be glorious. Unfortunately, after we blow their stuff up, we don't have any dredgers or anything. But that's okay. This is the first step we needed. I did let him go to draw step. That's unfortunate. Definitely did not mean to. Meant to do it during the upkeep. Clicked through it while we were talking about how happy we were if we drew Force of Vigor. Oops. Opponent did not pay 4 life, so it's not going to matter as much. They did get to see 1 card deeper, though. Yep. Opponent's going to get back their fetch land and probably fetch. Clear the top 2 cards that weren't very good off the Sylvan library. Find out what the opponent's casting. It's another Leyline of the Void. That's kind of nice that we get to blow up too. Punishing Fire Us. That's the slow burn for sure. Alright, so we're going to take 2 off this Goyf, and then we'll be able to Force of Vigor end of turn. Does put us all the way down to 5 cards though, so end step, Force of Vigor, targeting this and this. So that powers up the Goyf, that's why we waited. And we are still just drawing and passing the turn. We're going to do that 2 more times and hope it's fast enough. So let's see, we're taking 3, 6. Puts us to 7. 2 off that. We should still be at 6 life by the time that we start discarding, which is not ideal, but not miserable. Opponent has their engine set up here to draw every an extra card every turn with run in 6. Draw. Ooh, Golgari Grave-Troll was an excellent one. So next turn we get to discard Phantasmagorian, and when you discard Phantasmagorian, you get to discard the whole rest of your hand too. Yep, so opponent's looking to draw an extra card this turn. A little surprised that Wasteland's still in against us. I imagine that Wasteland is what you cut for the Leyline of the Voids, but I also don't know their deck very well. So they literally have 1,000,000 mana, so mana is not their shortcoming. Ooh, smart play by the opponent, played Mox Diamond and then did not play anything else, or did not play a land in order to discard it. That's it's pretty hot line out of them. Alright, this is probably the one game action we get to take. This was literally the best thing we could have drawn. So, if Golgari Grave-Troll's Dredge is good to us, we should be able to kill our opponent. Find out what the opponent has. That is a 5-power Goyf. Cycling. Find out what they got. If they do Punishing Fire, we are dead. Punishing Fire deals 2 damage to any target, and we are anything. So we're going to take this hit down to 2, and see if we're able to beat a Leyline of the Void. Looks like we're at least going to get a chance to try. Alright, so hold control. This. No, I'm holding control, you stupid keyboard. Alright, so this is why I held control, is because unfortunately we wanted these 3 in the graveyard too in order to combo off. Now our Golgari Grave-Troll has to be that much better. Love you, Moto. Alright, Bridge from Below, Sickening Shoal, Hogaak. I don't think is good enough. Yep. So, we did lose the game, unfortunately, due to Moto. Sort of. We would not have gotten additional creature back, so we actually still wouldn't have been able to do anything as far as the Goyf. We just would have had more cards in our graveyard. So, a little bit unfortunate there, but well played by our opponent. So, good games. We had live draws there, definitely, to still kill them. If a Narcomoeba was in there still, or something along those lines, we're able to turn it into zombies, which can actually block. And the Renin 6 doesn't kill us for 2 turns. Because it can only deal 1 to us a turn, and can't kill a 2/2 zombie by itself. And anything that kills a 2/2 zombie also kills us, because we're at 2. Very good that we do Force of Vigor, but it was about a turn too late. It's still pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
How we almost beat the card that is like the best hate card against our deck. I have to feel like the opponent may have kept... Alright, so let's lose a die roll. We lost the die roll.
Yay!
Yay! Alright. Let's see what we got here. We are going to keep our 7. We don't see what it is yet, but we know we're going to keep it. That's how the deck works. Unfortunately, we have Lotleth Giant in hand. The one place we want it is in the deck. But this is fine. It just means while we're comboing off, we'll also have to Thoughtseize ourselves in order to discard this card. Let's draw. And then pass our turn. And discard the Stinkweed Imp. Alright, let's go and yield to this turn. What do you got, opponent? All of our cards except for Narcomoeba. Wish this Narcomoeba was something that did something in the grave, because then every card would do something in the grave. Currently, there's a Narcomoeba in our hand, so if they Thoughtseize us, they do have a safe target. Sometimes when you get Thoughtseize, which means a discard spell, the only things in your hand are things that do stuff in the graveyard. And your opponent can't choose not to take a card. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's going to exile our graveyard. It's okay. Luckily, we have another Stinkweed Imp. So we're just going to discard that. It looks like we're against Black-Green Depths, which is a lands-based deck that looks to kill with Dark Depths and Thespian Stage. Thespian Stage copying a Dark Depths makes a Dark Depths with no ice counters on it, and Dark Depths says if it has no ice counters on it, then you can make a 20/20 with Indestructible and Flying. So a very powerful card. It actually looks like our opponent's on traditional lands with this Taiga, not Black-Green lands. So let's see what they play here. Wastelanding themselves. The life from the life. Curious. Oh, so that they can Bajuka Bog us again. Okay, this seems fine. We're still gonna dredge. I mean, that's what our deck does. This cannot name lands. Any order on that, and then we're gonna yield through the turn. We're gonna discard Ichorid, because they are gonna bog us again. Yep. There'll be 2 turns before they can Wasteland bog us again. I was a little confused at first, but now the line looks pretty hot. So discard the Stinkweed Imp. So it's going to Wasteland their Bajuka Bog, and then next turn they'll play both again. It's probably drawing an Exploration so that they can just do multiple in a turn. We're hoping to be able to get this 8/8 on the battlefield while they're still trying to keep us under the law. I think if we can resolve Hogaak, we can probably clock them out of the game faster than they can assemble their combo at this point. That being said, they have set us back like 3 turns, so a little unfortunate that they had the Bajuka Bog in their opening hand. Pretty cute that they can keep destroying their own land though and bringing it back.
Crazy.
Yeah. Their deck also kind of breaks the rules of Magic as far as their deck runs something to the tune of like 48 lands. So they're almost our antithesis.
Okay.
Because they run very few spells and a bunch of lands that do stuff, and we run no lands and a bunch of spells that do stuff. Kind of funny, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, opponent definitely seems to be tanking. Tanking means they're taking a while to think and consider their plays. So whenever you're playing a game Magic and then an opponent takes longer than usual because they're thinking, that's referred to as tanking. They're in the tank. They're in the shark tank. They're thinking through their play. Keep it up, opponent. We are going to dredge 5. It's what our deck does. Phantasmagorian's pretty good there. Yeah. Alright, so that dredge was pretty darn good. I think we get to win the game, assuming our opponent cannot remove our graveyard. Let's double check. Alright, we're going to discard an Imp. Doesn't really matter since we have Phantasmagorian, but let's see. Alright, dredge 3. There's exploration. Okay, they're gonna remove our graveyard again. Yep. We are fine with this because we have another dredger again. Ooh, there's the big boy, the big dredge 6. So we're gonna discard the dredge 6. Opponent seems pretty committed to this Bojuka Bog Wasteland line. Eventually our deck will do something. There's something. There's a Narcomoeba bringing back a Prized Amalgam.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we will. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and go to cleanup. This is gonna come back. And we already have dredges in the grave, so we're just gonna go ahead and discard this. I think it's Prized Amalgam. So they're probably gonna bog us again. Oh, they're supposed to just take a draw step. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Nope, looks like they're gonna bog us again. They must just have another life from the loam. So, float 2, wasteland yourself, sure. Get back the land, play it. Yep. I think we're all familiar with this play line at this point, including my girlfriend, who's very new to Magic.
Yep.
Alright. Tap up, keep, draw. Ooh, Street Wraith is even better. So that's going to skip us ahead of turn. So, start by hitting our opponent for some damage. They'll take 4. And then we're just going to go to discard and discard this Grave-Troll. Yep. Then what we get to do is cycle the Street Wraith, which draws a card any time. And we're going to do it during their second. Sylvan Library. That gives them additional draws. Dark Depths. Uh-oh. This may be them trying to turn the corner and kill us. So during their second main is when we're going to cycle this, because we might flip over one of these. And a card that, alright. Balustrade Spy is pretty good there. Alright, so looks like if we dredge well, we can kill our opponent. So let's try and do that. Dredge 4. Creeping Chill, Street Wraith, Grave-Troll. Not quite good enough. Definitely yes on the Creeping Chill. So we can cast Hogaak, and then we're only hitting them for 1. And if they make a 20-20, or we hit them for 3, 4, 5, down to 4. That's just it. Really wish we had turned over a Dread Return, but that's okay. Alright, so I think the line here is make them dead Hogaak. So let's cast Hogaak. 3. And Thug. And we're gonna hit them for 1. Alright, so then during the end step, we're gonna discard this Grave-Troll. It's also why I didn't cast the Hogaak from hand, as I still wanted the option to discard more trolls. And while it's possible we're just gonna get bogged again, I think that's still fine. We're also at 24, so a 20-20 does not kill us. It blocks this guy, but I don't even know how important that is. Ooh, that was important for them. Yep. Alright, so we get a really good Dredge 6 here. So let's see what our Dredge 6 looks like. They're dead. Sweet. Alright, so Cabal Therapy, myself. Double check that there's a bridge from below down there. Ooh. There's not. So we don't lead on Cabal Therapy, we just lead on Dread Return. Any order. That's fine. Well, sorry. We want auto yield to this, so this is fine. Always yield. Let's go ahead and mill our deck. That's fine. There's at least one bridge from below in there, so they're dead. Put the Narcomoeba on the stack. Put the Narcomoeba on the stack, put Creeping Shell on the stack, deal 3 to them. Bring back our 1-1. Bring back our 1-1. Alright, so we're going to start by Cabal Therapying ourselves. We're going to name Lotleth Giant, which is this card I said we'd have to Thought Seize ourselves in order to discard. Lotleth Giant, not Troll. We're going to discard it, and then we're going to bring it back and kill our opponent, who's only at 5. The opponent's probably reading Lotleth Giant and finding out how it kills them. So I get to reanimate it. This is most of the kill. So I get to reanimate this guy, and he'll deal 1 damage for each creature card in our graveyard, which is all these.
Okay.
So our opponent probably does not have Leyline of the Voids. Very cool that we got to show how we can beat a Bojuka Bog being looped over and over again by just being patient. And just going, eventually our deck will produce some amount of threats, and then they have to start answering them. Because otherwise that 4 power would have just killed them in 3 more turns. So I don't think Force of Vigor is worth it, because even though it does hit their explorations, they're probably a Surgical Extraction deck. Ravenous Traps I'm probably bringing in. I want to keep in Creeping Chills because they put me over 20, and their 20-20 can hit for 20. But it can't hit for more than that. So I want to cut Street Wraith because that's kind of counterintuitive otherwise. And I think that's fine. Especially if they go play a diamond, wasteland themselves to get back their thing again. Get back their bog again. I'm gonna be very happy to have Ravenous Traps in my deck. So opponent should put us on the play, as always. As I always tell everyone, put your Manaless Dredge opponent on the play, because the first thing we do every time, they chose to play first, so woohoo. Our hand is definitely missing a Dredger, but does have ways to get going, so we're going to keep. Opponent's on mulligan to 4 cards, 3 cards, 2 cards. This is looking okay for us. Problem is, they get to keep their 2 best cards. Opponent mold to 2. Don't worry, guys. This is still a game we can lose. See, there's Leyline of the Void. We did not bring in answers to Leyline of the Void. Yeah, they got us. So, we're going to bring in answers to Leyline of the Void. And definitely expect that out of regular lands. I should have expected it when they went as low as they did, though. So, we're going to cut these Rav Traps. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put them on the play again. Always a bummer to lose a game where your opponent misplays and puts you on the play. Opponent definitely had the commitment to mulligan all the way down, though. Be a shame if their 2 or 1 card hand didn't have Leyline of the Void. It'd be pretty good. We will like them to play first. We would like to draw Force of Vigor because they'll probably keep any hand with the Leyline. Hopefully they have to go very low to get a Leyline if they get a Leyline again. Our deck is now in a configuration that it can beat a Leyline post board. We're going to keep. Our opponent does not have the Leyline this game. Excellent. Okay. Wonder if it's Surgical Extraction this time. Opponent seems like the kind of person that would pack a bunch of hate for our deck. Alright, there's Phantasmagorian in the grave. I wish we had 2 different types of dredgers, but we do not, alas. So it's very likely crop rotation. They tap out for Sylvan Library. I'm very happy with that. If they leave up a green, it's very likely that they will put a Bajuka Bog. Spells cost 1 more to cast. Okay. We will have to win a fair game. So we will not be able to Dread Return combo, and we won't be able to Cabal Therapy anymore. That being said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold control down as hard as I can to hope that it works. I'm going to discard Nether Shadow first, Ichorid second. And you know what? We have another Phantasmagorian, so I'm just going to do it in case it doesn't work. I hate this application. Hold control, these 3. Now it holds priority, when it doesn't matter. Alright, Phantasmagorian, these 3. Alright. Get to dredging. It's only a dredge 4, but that's a start. So, this one on the stack first. Yes, I'd like to bring back my 1/1. I'll exile a Hogaak to bring back a 3/1. That begins clocking them. Dredge 4. Bridge from below double amalgam. Don't mind if I does. Alright, so is that quite enough to cast Hogaak? So he costs 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. Alright, this is fine. So what we're going to do is we're just going to nug them here. And then we're going to pass the turn. Yep. We have 3 power in play. It's not a lot, but if all our opponent has is hate pieces, 3 power might be enough to get there. Ironic that once our deck can beat a Leyline of the Void, they don't have Leyline of the Void, and when our deck can't beat Leyline of the Void, they mulligan to 2 and win. Hey, that's magic sometimes. It's why we all love this game. Highs and lows. Alright, so our opponent played a Wasteland. I have to feel like they have a bog here. But if they don't bog us, feeling pretty good about our position. So let's find out if we get to bring this back. Alright. Here's Bazooka Bog. What that says is 3 power is pretty much what we're going to have to win the game with. So, let's attack with all creatures. What we draw from this point doesn't matter too much. We just have to have our opponent not be able to kill us for 4 turns. For 11 turns. Well, good news is it looks like we're going to have the opportunity to dredge again if we get to that point. Alright, continuing to have spells here is not excellent for us. It looks like Leyline of the Void probably being cast at this point for 5 mana. Yep. There's Leyline of the Void. We have answers for that, and we're going to get lots of draw steps, so... Opponent did just take 1 turn off the clock by casting that, thanks to Nurturing Peatland. Still feel it's 100% correct. We are definitely beating a Melting Dark Depths at the moment, but if they're able to make an instant speed 20/20, we do lose the game. I don't know what this is, but it probably kills our Nether Shadow. Yep. Alright. So we have to draw Force of Vigor into have them brick for 4 turns. My girlfriend is crossing her fingers, yes. Wasteland is kind of a brick. Force of Vigor. Phantasmagorian. Alright. See what they got. They are now melting counters off, which is completely correct. So Dark Depths, in addition to having a combo with Thespian Stage, also says you can just pay 3 mana to remove one of the 10 counters. Force of Vigor. Narcomoeba, that's a terrible draw. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and discard this Narcomoeba since it was a terrible draw. Opponent gets to draw 1 additional card here if they so wish. Force of Vigor needs to pretty much be this draw step. Was not. I don't know how many more draw steps we're going to get, but we're going to keep taking them until we actually die. So it's unfortunate we didn't hit it this turn. This would have been the ideal turn because now we have to go to discard and it goes to exile because of Leyline. See what we got here. Opponents can be merciful and just kill us. Alright, if they show us Thespian Stage, which I'm sure is still in their deck, we will concede the game. Would you like to see how they make a 20/20? Okay, then I will concede the game.
Yeah.
Alright, so we are 1-2 currently, but moving into our 4th match. Let's see how this goes. Alright, let's lose some die rolls. Join match? No, we would not like to go first. We would like to yield to their turn. And we do have a Dredger, but it's only Dredge 3. We don't mulligan. We're team never mulligan. Chalice of the Void on 1. Well, that's not very good against us. Hopefully it's a Chalice of the Void Blood Moon deck, and not a Chalice of the Void Ensnaring Bridge Blood Moon deck. So Chalice of the Void, Walking Ballista for 1. Sure. Pretty smart of them. So Walking Ballista does die at instant speed, so they get to exile our bridge from below us. I'm going to discard a Thug. See what our opponent casts here. We're luckily one of the decks in format that can beat a Karn grabbing a Mycosynth Lattice, because even though you don't get to cast... Oh, they're Bomber Man. Cool. Even though they don't get to cast any more spells, we don't really need to cast spells to win the game. Well, what lands do we really have? Auroch Salvagers. Infinite mana, infinite draw, infinite damage. Alright. So would you like to see this combo?
Just gonna kill you.
It is.
If
So they
it's
make infinite
everything.
mana. They make infinite mana, pour it into this Walking Ballista, and deal 600 damage to us.
Yeah.
We are going to concede because it is infinite, but I wanted to explain it there real quick. Alright, so this is horrible for us. Miserable. Bad. Bad, 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 bad. So their deck is very good against us. Sickening Shoal is one of our few pieces of interaction. Chancellor does nothing against their deck of 1 mana spells, really. I feel like we probably want to fit in all 4 Ravenous Traps. And that means we probably want to cut 2 Street Wraiths. So Ravenous Trap exiles their graveyard. We would like to play second, please. We have the only 2 Street Wraiths in our deck in our hand with a Dredger. If their hate is Surgical Extraction, our deck's looking incredible right now. If their hate is Leyline of the Void, it's looking pretty bad. So we're gonna keep this. Opponent's on Mold to 6. Alright, opponent kept their hand and did not pregame a Leyline. That is good. So now we just see what they do on their first turn. It can be any number of things. It looks like it's just going to be Ancient Tomb Pass. We're going to go ahead and take this Golgari Thug, and we're going to throw him right into the bin. We prefer Prized Amalgams for in our deck, so that, oh, you know what? We're actually going to discard Phantasmagorian. Because we want to get enough more cards in the graveyard. Like I'm a little wary because it is Moto, but, you know, we're going to try. Karn, grab a Tormod's Crypt. Not ideal for us. Tormod's Crypt is a 0 mana artifact that can exile your entire graveyard, which it looks like is what our opponent's going to do right now. Ooh. Alright, so opponent correctly identifying that they don't have to exile yet. So I think that we're just going to take a draw step here. Deck's pretty good. Alright, so we're going to yield through this turn. We're going to actually discard a Dredger. So they're in a position where they're slightly more forced to do this Tormod script. Opponent played that very well with the timing of. Too many players immediately use their Tormod script. By not using it at all, they incentivize us to have to use our Phantasmagorian. So their card's up to 4. Play basic planes. Mentor, sure. Alright, so they have a 3/3 and a 1/1. I assume there's a Lion's Eye Diamond in the board currently that this Karn can go get. Alright, they can exile our graveyard. We don't care. We do kind of care. There's not much we can. So, we revealed Cabal Therapy. The opponent does get to draw 2 cards here because that's what baubles do. We take a draw step, hoping to hit a Dredger. Since we missed, we have to cycle. We hit a Dredger. Since we missed, we cycle, hoping to hit a Dredger. We hit a Dredger. So now we're going to throw this guy in the graveyard and hope we get another turn. This is going to go grab another Tormod's Crypt out of the board likely, and then we can't win the game. Because mainly because this will be too much power in killing us, not just the fact that we're locked out.
Right.
So let's see what they choose to do. They just have Arc Salvagers, then they just have infinite mentor power anyways. This is LED, and we get to concede if they put Arc Salvagers on the stack. That's fine. Alright, well played, opponent. Alright, so we are 1-4. So this has been a rough league for Manaless Dredge, to say the least. Let's see how our opponent in match 5 does. He lost the die roll, so that's what we like to see. We have a Dredger and a Street Wraith on the draw.
Nice.
That's what we like to see. Let's keep.
Keep anyway.
See, you understand. Yeah, blue cards. We like to see blue cards. Rug Delver is one of the best decks in the format currently, and we have a very good matchup against it because blue cards tend to be very slow. Like this appears to be Rug Delver, which is our best matchup. They have minimal graveyard interaction and tend to be counterspell based, and counterspell decks can't really beat us. Phantasmagorian was the best draw in the deck as we get to now discard our entire hand. Opponent is now realizing that they're against Manaless Dredge on the draw, which is a very rough spot to be. So I assume they're going to tap out for Renin 6. Renin 6 is the reason this deck's so popular right now, because it allows you to read by Wasteland and destroy all your opponent's lands. You'll understand why that's not so powerful against us. Yes. So, I mean, Phantasmagorian is a trigger that can be stifled, but I think if our opponent stifles Phantasmagorian, we're pretty happy with it. Alright, yeah, no, our opponent's just going to cast Renin 6. Maybe a Tarmogoyf. Goyf would be better for them. Ponder, sure. So remembering that this application sucks, what's the 3 we discard first in case we don't get the option to discard 3 more? Bridge, Ichorid, Stinkweed Imp, I think is the 3. And then we're going to try and discard 3 more if it lets us. The card we're going to keep is Street Wraith, obviously. So these are the 6 we're going to discard. In this order. Let's see what we get. It's pondering. I imagine they're looking for Force of Will, which is a counterspell that doesn't cost any mana, or Daze, which is a counterspell that doesn't cost any mana, or Spell Pierce, which is a counterspell that costs 1 mana. Isn't Legacy a fun format? I think it's great. Alright, so they chose not to shuffle and thought the card they're keeping is good enough. Okay. So we're going to go to end step, and we're going to go ahead and use our Phantasmagorian. Push the control button down. 1, 2, 3. This is so unfortunate. Dredge. Should have done it second main. That's a pretty good dredge. Any order's fine. Alright, let's bring this back. We're going to exile the Street Wraith we cycled. Then we're going to dredge 6 cards. Couple Street Wraiths. Another Bridge from Below is real cool. I have a couple of them. So, let's see here. I believe this is just a turn where we attack in for 3 and then pass the turn because Phantasmagorian not working sucks. I'm sorry, attack for 4. And then we'll make a bunch of zombies at the end of turn. Because this kills itself automatically, and when it dies, it triggers all our Bridge from Belows, which we currently have 3. There's an additional 6 power in zombies. You'll see why this deck has a little hard time interacting with it, is they have a 1/1 that's about to be a 3/2, and we have 7 power. Our weakness is definitely combo decks, like our last opponent. Decks that want to play a fair game or a tempo game, like our opponent, are the kind of decks we're hoping to pair against, because it's what we're good against. We're very bad against combo decks.
Sense.
So, let's see. Next turn, do we have them dead? Let's check. Not quite dead, but we get to put an 8/8 on the battlefield. So, that seems pretty good. Our opponent's deck of 3/2s and 1/3s, sometimes a Tarmogoyf that gets all the way to being a 6/7, is still all smaller than my 8/8 that has trample for some reason. Once again, let's all take a moment and pour it out for Phantasmagorian on Moto. In paper, that never would have happened, and we would have been able to have all 4 Bridge from Belows in the grave, Dread Return, and Cabal Therapy. Let's see here. Opponent does not reveal their card. We will not block their 1/1. That would be very bad. A smart play on their behalf would be play Wrenn and 6 and then pop down on Delver of Secrets. See if they take that line. They do have the Wrenn and 6. Wasteline's kind of pointless. They do, so that'll exile all 3 of our Bridge from Below. So that was a very good play from the opponent. We are going to go ahead and bring this back. Exiling Street Wraith. Draw. Replace with Dredge 6. Dredge 6 has quite a few goodies in it. Narcomoeba and Creeping Chill. Creeping Chill, oh, okay. Opponent conceded. So Creeping Chill will deal 3 damage to them, then Cabal Therapy will take away whatever action they may have left, and then we just get to chunk in for most of their life total, and that's pretty much the game. So, opponent is unlikely to be a Leyline of the Void deck, but we did also get Leylined by lands today, so that was a little surprising. I believe our deck is amazing, and we're just going to hit submit deck without any sideboards whatsoever. Isn't our deck great?
Yep.
So, like I said, this is the kind of matchup we're hoping to pair against, because their Delvers aren't very fast. Like, a Delver that flips on turn 2 doesn't kill you by itself until turn 8. Because it has to deal 21 damage to you. So it flips on 2 and attacks you for 3, and kills you on 8. Creeping Chills, add a turn to that. 1 Creeping Chill, it's not till turn 9. 2 Creeping. That's why they usually have to develop 2 threats, and if they have to develop 2 threats, that's usually enough time for us to be able to just run them over.
Okay.
Usually their hate is Surgical Extraction, which says exile a card from the graveyard and all other cards. And for most intensive purposes, it's free. So while that's good against some decks, our deck has a lot that happens in the graveyard. So hitting any one thing tends to not be good enough. Let's see what our opponent thinks, though. Based on how this league's gone, I would not be surprised if our opponent kept 7 and then pre-gamed a Leyline on us.
Right.
Prompting a concession from us, as we were unable to beat that card. But if that happens, you shrug your shoulders. It's unlikely that their deck is built with that card, so... Let's see. Alright, so believe it, our opponent put themselves on the play, which is very common in Magic. You don't think to put your opponent on the play, it would be a good... Alright, well that's their hate. Their hate is a Grafdigger's Cage. Good news is we can also not beat a Grafdigger's Cage. So, we're going to put our opponent in the play. And let's see. Check out some Street Wraiths. Keep a Chancellor the No, I think this is fine. Well, that was kind of rough. So Grafdigger's Cage says creatures cannot enter the battlefield from grave. So how are we supposed to play things? Well, TLDR, you know. Yeah. Unfortunately, our green card is Golgari Grave-Troll, but this hand is fine. Ideally, they do discard it, or they play a cage on one with no way to protect it, and then we're able to just Force of Vigor it. Oh, opponent kept a hand that just goes to discard, huh? Ah. Second main casting the cage, that's fine. Well, it be what it be. Alright, so we're just going to go to end step, and we're going to go and discard our dredge. And we're going to let them do their things. If they cast a Ponder, we will blow this up in response. If they cast a Delver, we will blow this up in response. Here's my Force of Vigor. Please don't have Force of Will. Force of Will is definitely better than Force of Vigor. Please don't have Counter Magic. Please don't have Counter Magic. Oh no, they have Force of Will. Their force is better than ours. Yeah, it's definitely a no-no. Alright, so we're drawing to more green cards and more Force of Vigors. Let's go. We're not dead yet. Let's see. Force of Vigor. We cannot dredge, because if we dredge, we're putting ourselves further away from drawing the cards we need. Unless you have marked sleeves, you should not know when you should dredge and not dredge in this deck, except for as far as to clear cards, because you should always know that draw steps are correct here because you don't want to mill Force of Vigor, and you want to draw a green card as well. Okay. So Bridge from Below, neither a green card nor a Force of Vigor, but opponent also has 1 power worth of pressure in play. Having to pitch the Brainstorm to Force of Will that did slow down their Delver flipping, but it looks like, unfortunately, they flipped now to a Brainstorm. Ironic. See? Brainstorm on both. Alright, so we're going to draw. And then, luckily, we do just... Force of Vigor. That's half of what we're looking for, team. Alright, so I think we just discard Balustrade Spy here. And then next turn we discard Dread Return if we don't hit a green card, because then we, in theory, have all the cards in our graveyard necessary to combo kill them. The reason why is if you Dread Return Balustrade Spy, Spy is the one that mills your whole library. Dread Return is the card that brings it back. So having both those cards in the graveyard, very good. Opponent is floating colorless. I am very glad we have Force of Vigor in our deck. Very glad. Green card. You need a green card here, please. That is not a green card. So we already discussed what we're going to discard. So we only have 3 Balustrade Spies in our deck. Or we already discarded Balustrade Spy. So we're going to discard Dread Return. So now we have most of our combo. We just need to draw green card to Force of Vigor these away. We could be trying to dredge Creeping Chills to get additional turns, but we don't have a... Actually, we should be dredging now because we can hit Grave-Troll. Let's take 4 looks at the green card. There's a Grave-Troll. Any order. We should not have any ordered. We should put Nether Shadow on the bottom. That's fine. So we're going to yield to this turn. Discard Prized Amalgam. I have new card. Ooh, new card. Can only block creatures with flying. And I don't know what the other mode is because I don't get to see it. Neat. Neat. I love not knowing what the other thing does. So we get to dredge this Grave-Troll. This hit for 6. So we have to hit at least 1 Creeping Chill in order, to live. But if we hit a Creeping Chill off this dredge 6, we will have a green card. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That is not... Oh, Narcomoeba does not work because I need to be able to blow these up, and I can't on my turn. So, oh no. We're going to go ahead and pass the turn here. And we are dead. I'm just curious if this Force of Vigor would have resolved. Let's find out. Technically, opponent should still counter this because we could have Street Wraith in hand to cycle at instant speed, but opponent has won this game. That card works too. They says counter a spell unless you pay 1 mana. That's something we literally do not have access to. So, well played, opponent. Alright, so we ended this league with a little bit of an unfortunate 1-4. Got to show off a little bit of what the deck did, how it could play around some hate, how it loses to some hate, and sometimes just how you have to draw to play the deck. I hope you enjoyed, Greyci. I hope all of you out there enjoyed. Greyci, can you remind them to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if there's a deck they want to see played?
Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to see.
Thank you so much, and see you next time. Alex with Lucksack Games, have a great day.